All right. Thank you again, Ms. Inday Espina Verona, AC, Angge. So, and of course, Christian De Pia Sanchez, our Associate for Communications at ICSC. So, for our first question, what stories are we looking for? I mean, Red already mentioned some story approaches, and Angge, of course, but maybe Inday, Chris, AC can also add to this.
Siguro example, alam natin solar is gaining popularity in many areas of the country, no? Pero it's not just about the installation, you know. It's like maganda siguro, are rich people the only ones who can afford solar, you know? Are they affordable? Or even more, as nakita ko yata kanina sa mga preliminary videos, are there ways for, you know, for the poor in rural communities to transition into solar power? So yeah, hindi yan, these are very real human interest stories na na talagang angkop sa buhay ng tao. Isa yan, no? Second, well, it's still important, no, na mapakita yung harmful effects na ng sinasabi natin current use of dirty technology, and in fact that they're still trying to expand, you know, their programs in the country, and yet at the same time lagi kasing kulang dyan, hindi dumudugtong dyan yung mga komunidad na nagpakita na pwede sila talaga magkaroon ng alternative source of energy. So nako-connect mo yung dalawa, no? The problems and the hopes, you know, and actually the abilities of other communities to actually transcend itong mga dirty technology na yan. So those are two examples. I don't know, the others can also give examples. Pero si Red kanina, ang dami-daming pwedeng talagang pagkunan ng mga ideya para sa mga storya.
Yes, Chris, please.
Hello, everyone. So just to add also that part of what we are trying to surface now through this fellowship is personal stories also. If you know of anyone, or if you've heard of families, for example, that have managed to install RE, clean energy, solar solutions, say in their backyard, and how it's improved their lives, we can consider those kinds of stories. Now, we want to have you surface the stories that don't necessarily that aren't already being featured. You know, malls. These might already be in the news somewhere, that kind of thing. But what we want are those, the small stories of households, families whose lives have been changed. Those are really valuable, and those are again what might not be surfaced easily. So those are the kinds of things that we're hoping that this fellowship can surface. Thank you.
All right, so maybe we can go to the next question. Where can journalists find these stories? What do you think?
Okay, siguro I can take on that. Actually, na-mention na nila Ma'am Inday tsaka ni Red, and even Chris, yung mga example stories na pwede nyong i-undergo or pwede nyong subukan. Actually, energy stories kasi, they're everywhere naman eh. Dahil yung issue ng enerhiya, apektado tayong lahat dyan. Hindi yan mga piling mga tao lang nakaka-apekto sa issue ng energy. Lahat tayo. So, energy transition stories should also not be just focused on hard data science. Hindi lang ibig sabihin na kapag energy, numbers lang yan. Hindi. We have to go to the ground, to the people being affected by these issues. Lalo kaya nga magandang opportunity ng fellowship nito, lalo na sa regions and sa provinces, kasi kayo yung nasa ground. You have the better lens, you have the better voice to tell the stories of the people. So you can actually look for stories na For example, yung affected ng lahat naman tayo, again, affected ng high cost na electricity bills. Or paano ginagawa ng mga island communities yung tapping on renewable energy sources on their own. Kasi ang dami nito na parang sariling sikap ng mga Pilipino na naghahanap sila ng paraan para makatap sa RE, makatap sa solar para magkaroon ng kuryente sa kanilang mga barangay. Or yung mga workers ng mga RE installation na gustong gawin ng mga simbahan at ng mga eskwelahan na ilagay sa bubong ng kanilang mga institusyon. Magandang subukan din ito. Again, it's also mentioned kanina na you don't have to be an expert on the issue of energy. We're not looking for experts here. We are looking for storytellers who have the keen eye to tell stories that matters. So you just have to look around on your community and utilize your own expertise in finding ways to connect to the issue. Makakatulong din ang kanina yung binigay na example ng mga videos, makakatulong yung mga examples na yun na para magkaroon ng ideas. Ipapalag ko na din dito yung website namin, ICSC.ngo, so that you can have more references or more examples kung paano tinatakal ang issue ng enerhiya. Okay.
Thank you, AC. We'd also like to welcome to this discussion veteran journalist Jade Lopez. Jade, baka may gusto kang idagdag. Hello, thanks for being with us today.
Hi. If the kids are looking for stories, actually, just like AC said, you look around your neighborhood. Maybe you're confined only to your going to work, going to school, and that's it. All you have to do is step out. Malapit ako sa Payatas eh. The mothers there, they're very active in looking for saving money. They don't really know technical, but they've had several attempts at trying to use solar. It's the mothers, not the fathers, who always try projects, gardening, solar. Sila yung mas makulit doon. Climate change, they know what it's like to lose their homes. So sila yung active on how to alert everyone. What do you do when yung mga ganon? Not just neighborhoods. Anywhere you look now, they're all trying because it's how to save money and how to survive. You look around fisher communities, meron din ganon. You just ask students sa physics departments. They have so many projects on that link to neighborhoods. I've done stories with NGOs and I was shocked. These NGOs are not technical, but they do projects with departments of physics, engineering, who go to the neighborhood and help the neighborhoods put very practical projects. Ang dami, you just have to look. And like Red said, you go to the market, yung Binondo and Diviso, they're selling solar panels there. And it's cheaper than if you go to establishments. Ang dami, just look around and talk to your barangays, you'd be surprised at what you find if you just look and take a jeep and walk to your neighborhood organizations. You'll find it. Nandun. Even, let's say, how do they manage to get these solar panels and equipment here na hindi kanyang kamahal? That's a big thing. How do these people manage to do it without getting through customs? Ang daming storya if you just look. That's what I always tell the younger reporters. You usually don't know how to look because you don't go out. Talagang makihalubilo kayo bago mag-epidemic na naman. After, yun. That's my advice.
Thank you, Jade. Alam ko sa Raon din yata, no? Yung mga solar setups. But even beyond solar, we're seeing, for example, in Romblon, mga wind projects, biomass. So, all across the country. I think our colleagues here have seen firsthand some of these projects just in Pililla Rizal, no?
Yeah.
Closer to Metro Manila. Some of us have views of the Pililla wind farm.
Several years ago, I'd worked with this NGO, and they had students not just from universities, volunteers from universities abroad who were so happy to share their expertise, and they were going to communities. Hindi ito covered ng mainstream, ayaw ng editor ko eh. Pero I wanted to do it. They didn't like the projects, maliit daw. But I was so surprised that they were actually already, hindi pa uso malaki, doing small wind power for small communities in the rural areas na malakas yung they could have regular yung sa mga shorelines. I was surprised because nobody talked about it. And yet there it was, and tahimik yung NGO. Mga engineer to, mga environmental scientists, and they just did their job. Ang dami. Just have
Thank you,
to look.
Jade. So let's go to the next question. What makes a strong application? What kind of fellows are we hoping to get? AC, would you like to take this on first?
Okay. What are we looking for? Of course, a strong application is something that the team is confident enough to present and work on it all throughout the program. We are looking at fellows who are eager to produce stories that are grounded on research, valuing the trust of their subjects, and has high regards to media ethics. We are also encouraging everyone to have the willingness to learn across beats from colleagues and from other energy experts. As mentioned before then, magandang opportunity itong Klima Fellowship for collaboration and for connecting with other experts, connecting with fellow journalists, connecting with the people on the ground on a very important issue such as this. So, ang hinahanap lang naman din namin sa application is of course, yung mga na-mention kaninang mechanics. At the same time, makahabol tayo sa deadline ng May 16. And at pinaka-importante sa lahat ay yung commitment ng team na matapos ito hanggang sa dulo, maka-produce ng story na talagang importante at the same time something na mapag-uusapan ng lahat. So yun lamang po. Yeah.
Linda and Chris, as panelists, what do you think would make an application stand out?
Well, una kita mo 6 months yan. So we're not looking for one-off, yung mabilis, no? Ganon.
Yeah.
So, klaro, sa pagbigay nyo pa lang ng application nyo, nakikita yung proseso na ano yung mga iba-ibang mga aspeto nitong report na napapasok sa loob ng 6 na buwan, no? Pangalawa, ako personal, maybe it's not everyone's choice, but ako talaga, I'm really partial to those with local flavors. Kasi yan gusto ko makita, sinabi ni Jade kanina, no? Gusto ko pag nababasa ko, gusto ko na-imagine ko na ikikwento nyo yung amoy, yung simoy ng hangin dyan, yung everything that would make somebody in Metro Manila, for example, be transported into your places, because this would probably be the best proof na importante ang lugar nyo, no? Kung mapapatayo yung isang teka, may nangyayari palang ganito, napakahalaga pala nito, no? So bring out the best, show your love for your communities. Iba yun iba yung pagmamahal, nakikita mo sa sinusulat mo dahil taga dyan ka, hindi ka lang flying journalist flying in, you're somebody who is actually who lives and breathes the changes that's happening to your communities, no? Basically, yun lang sa akin. Maganda kung makita rin yung division of labor. Although, of course, teams usually work together. But it's not just for us. Actually, it's also for you. If you break down yung labor nyo, mas magiging manageable sa inyo. Hindi kayo masyadong ma-overwhelm kasi nakikita nyo na yung litrato ng trabaho gagalawan nyo.
Thank you, Inday.
There's
Chris, oh, Jade, yes.
I'd like to add, kasi may question kanina na, ba't kailangan ng editor? Ba't kailangan ng team? Yun nga sabi ni Inday, mahalaga yung may ibang perspective because I've seen what people who do it alone do. It's kulang. And it doesn't give you a holistic view. And when I've worked with a good team, because it's not just about what I think the story should be. It should always be the voices of the people you're talking about, but it's also the team. And I've worked with fantastic videographers and cameramen who see things I don't, because they see. Iba yung mata. Tapos iba din yung mata ng editor na, teka muna, malito o kaya hindi ito malinaw. Mahalaga yung, it's vetting. It's a technical term, but it's vetting. It's making sure the product or what you're doing is accurate, reflects what the people, what's really happening, because you're taking them there to what is happening. That's your job. And also that it's correct. Nakakatakot, wala kang editor. Maganda talaga yung may tumitingin. Mas kampante ka na. Tama yung ginawa mo. Kasi pero kahit sa newsroom kasi anim-anim na yung writer, nagkakamali pa rin. Ano pa kung nag-iisa ka? So, yun.
Thank you, Jade. Inday, and then I believe Angge
Okay.
also has something to add.
So firsthand, I'm an editor, and believe me, there's no editor or writer good enough who doesn't need another eye to look at his or her stories. Kung araw-araw nga lang sa Facebook, naghahabol ako ng typos ko, pati sa Twitter. No? Everybody, because especially in the white glare of digital technology, talagang hindi natin napapansin yung mga mali natin. But that's in the final output. Dun sa process of working, I have not heard of any in-depth investigative or explanatory story that has not been a collaboration between reporters and editors. And actually may nagtanong na hindi pa pwede yung magsabi na lang na editor na will support the publication. That's good to have an editor support the publication, but that's not the end. Hindi trabaho ng editor in in-depth stories. The editor doesn't come in the end lang and and sign on for publication, because you don't want to waste 6 months and learn, sasabihin sa'yo ng editor, hoy, dapat nandun ka, ba't hindi ka lumiko dun sa second month? Hindi ka na napupunta sa direction, dapat lumiko ka na dito because the facts don't, because like, when we do a story, although mas maganda siguro to sa trainings, when we do a story, what we do is we follow the facts. Even when we have preconceived, and all of us probably have preconceived notions at the start, ang obligasyon ng isang journalist is to follow the facts. And if the facts tell us that, oops, that's not the way the story is going, maybe you should do a left turn, then we should do a left turn. That's where editors come in. When tayo kasi, because I'm a reporter as much as an editor, and I'll tell you, when I'm a reporter, sometimes I'm focused on the trees. That's why I need an editor to tell me, sandali, baka hindi mo to nakita kasi medyo malayo sa'yo, but this is part of the landscape that you're covering. So dun mahalaga kung bakit kailangan ng editor, because we need people who are in the trees, who write glowingly and beautifully about the things that they see in their immediate surroundings. And then we need editors who are 3 steps behind and who see the landscape and who are able to help the reporters connect the dots. Yeah.
Thank you. So our last question for this part, what can fellows get out of this program? Maybe Angelica can go first.
Yes, thank you. So for those interested now to learn more about the basics on energy, that is something that our team can offer. So with good data analytics and expertise on energy policy and the power sector, we can provide it to you kasi may mga feedback na nakuha na itong topic na to mismo technical siya masyado, at madalas nagiging technical din talaga siya. Pero sa tingin namin, ito yung magko-complement din. Kasi we recognize that we want this to be beyond the technicalities, no? We want it to be mainstreamed as much as possible. And kahit kami din mismo, alam namin na mahirap na mas mapalutang pa yung mga ganitong messages kasi kailangan malagpasan mo muna yung technicality na yun. So, what you want to see siguro sa mga story, no, how would it affect other sectors na na-mention kanina, no, whether that would be health, labor, yung mga communities mismo, economy, and how this can be translated din sa mga communities. So maybe these stories will help in better understanding what are the impacts are on other sectors. It will also raise awareness din dun sa current energy issues na nabanggit natin kanina. Cross-cutting din kasi to no? So parang from top to down level lahat apektado. And just want to reiterate na we want this to be mainstreamed and that ordinary people will talk more about it na yung issue sa energy hindi lang siya yung basta sa solar or sa wind but it also address other issues as well. So we hope to get that from the applications as well, and in return we can provide the expertise that you needed. And of course, there can be expansion in your networks as well and potential collaborations with other stakeholders if needed.
Thank you, Angge. So just final words from Chris before we have a quick photo op and then we go to the Q&A. I'm happy to see already some questions signing up. Chris?
Yeah, thanks, Lenny. So just to add, so actually she and get the words from me already. This is a great opportunity for you to build your own networks by doing this because we're not actually telling you to just stick within your sector and then work with people you've already worked with. In fact, it will make for a more compelling story if you reach out to people you may not have worked with before in order to tease out these stories and then to build a really good, really strong case for us to support your, to give you the grant. So that is also something that this fellowship can offer you, the opportunity to build your networks, both personal and professional, by doing that. And that's, I think that would really be invaluable for all of you. So that's something that you should consider as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So before we end this roundtable, let's take a quick photo op of all our speakers here, just before the Q&A.
Okay, ready na po. Smile, 1, 2, 3. All good.
Thank you, Ira. And thank you, everyone, Inday, Jade, Chris, and Casey, of course, for that insightful discussion. We hope that it has provided more clarity to journalists and editors who are interested in applying to the fellowship.